Welcome to the SHA Podcast, presented by Direct West.
Welcome back to another installment of the SHA Podcast, presented by Direct West. As always, I'm your host, Jake Murray, and this week we're catching up with Team Saskatchewan's male U16 head coach, Devan Praught. Praught and the team will be heading to Calgary and competing in the 2019 Whl Cup, October 23rd to 27th. Thanks for joining us, Devan.
Thanks for having me on.
Now, can you give us a little bit of info on what the Whl Cup is for our viewers that may not be familiar with it?
Yeah, for sure. The WHL consists of the four Western provinces. So BC, Alberta, Saskatchewan, and Manitoba, and it's a Hockey Canada event of provincial U16 teams. So this feeds into our national program, starting with the national teams for the U7.
All right, great. So tell me a little bit about this year's team and competition you guys are going to be facing at the tournament.
We're excited about this year's group. We feel we have a strong goaltending and a deep group of forwards and defense that can skate. So as far as the competition, we have to expect the best from each of these teams. It can be expected that it's going to be like fast, hard-hitting hockey, throughout the tournament. So our boys will be prepared to give it everything they got.
That's what I like to hear. Now, you've been involved with the SAS First program for a few years now, and you've coached Team Saskatchewan at the Canada Games last year. How does preparing to coach a tournament like this differ from coaching a team for an entire season?
Yeah, I mean, obviously there's some difference. What we've been talking about with this group is that this event's like a sprint. And, the seasons you go through, all of our players this year coming from the SAS Midget AAA League, they're playing 44 games.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll treat the round robin as our season, and Saturday is our playoffs, and Sunday's our big ticket. So there's a lot of energy building up to the event, and so our challenge is to sustain that energy throughout the week.
For sure. So you were a part of the team that won the TELUS Cup in 2018 with the Notre Dame Hounds. How does preparing for WHL Cup or preparing for the TELUS Cup differ, or is it similar to that major tournament?
I think in event it's similar. It's kind of that preparation that we just talked about, coaching a team for an entire season. So, we're going to be as prepared as we can be for the WHL Cup, but you're never going to be able to replace the experience and opportunities that you have from a full season. So, you go to the TELUS Cup, you got 7 games. You're looking at around 55 previous games as a group together. So by that time, you should be a well-oiled machine. For us here at the WHL Cup, it's a short event, few team practices, and away we go. So our focus has to be on getting better every day, and then establishing our process for success. So in terms of preparation and focus and being at the event for staff and players, there isn't much difference. It's an all-in event. The players are responsible for taking care of their bodies and being ready to compete, and while the staff, we're going to work tirelessly to prepare the group for the best opportunity to be successful. And I mean, if that's the TELUS Cup, the WHL Cup, or any major tournament, once you're there, the focus is normally the same.
For sure. Now, you've been coaching for a long time now. What developed that passion for coaching, and did you have a favorite coach growing up?
I'd say my passion for coaching developed at a young age. I worked at Andrews Hockey School on the East Coast on Prince Edward Island for a lot of years. And when I was young, Alan Andrews actually got me involved in their spring hockey teams. And I had assistant coached for a number of years. And then by the time I was 18, I was a head coach of one of the spring teams. So he's been a great mentor and given me lots of opportunities. And then I had great coaches growing up. Gerard Smith, Mike Pinky Gallant, Greg McDonald from minor hockey. And then when I got to junior, I had Forbes Kennedy, original 6 NHLer, Mike Eagles with some NHL experience, and then Forbes McPherson at UPEI. So I'd say I've taken a little bit from each of the guys along the way. And one thing that, you always take from a good coach is their passion to coach and to lead. And then lastly is just my parents for all their love and support, both as a player and now as a coach. They're pretty involved and sending me messages all the time of encouragement and stuff. And, they've always given me the best opportunities. So I've been all thankful for that.
So do you have any advice that you could give to minor hockey coaches that are at a younger age that might have helped you out when you were starting out as a new coach?
Yeah, I mean, it sounds funny to kind of give out advice, but at the same time, just be a student of the game and take different roles. The game's always changing, so you need to adapt with it. watch, read, listen, and learn. But at the end of the day, there's no replacement for the instruction experience, like being in front of people and working with other people and being a part of a team. So get out there and be involved. Like I said, take different roles. And then lastly is make skill development a focus and create and use drills that develop skill for in-game situations. So not necessarily stick handling 3 pucks around the ice, but getting them going into situations they would have in a game.
For sure. Well, Devan, I know you're busy this week getting the team ready for the Whl Cup, so I want to thank you for taking the time to come on and talk to us, and good luck at the upcoming tournament.
Thank you very much, Jake. It's a pleasure being on, and we're looking forward to representing the province.
This has been another installment of the SHA podcast. I'm your host, Jake Murray, and that was Team Saskatchewan's head coach, Devan Praught.
This has been an SHA podcast presented by Direct West. The Saskatchewan Hockey Association, shaping character for life, more than a game.